I was at a function, and there were kids there who lack hearing, all right? And so the teachers, they had to sign language certain things to them. And I was face painting a few of them, and I thought, oh my gosh, it'll be so good to know sign language, because then I'll be able to really be an all-around communicator. I remember in school, one of my passions, well, still is, I was about to say was, but it still is, was the foreign languages. That's what I studied as well. So I studied French, I studied Spanish, because I was really just fascinated with the cultures. But today, seeing the teachers sign for the children, and they're really understanding it, I thought, oh, that's something that's going to be useful, to sign to the child, like, close your eye, or, you turn this way, different things like that. Or if you want to get an important message across to them, sign language. If any of you on the chat know sign language, or somewhere in Grenada that teaches it, write it in the comments, because I would love to learn it officially. I think we can all agree that on YouTube, it is the greatest university. So please do not put YouTube on the chat, okay? I know YouTube is the greatest university now, but I would really love to learn it in person with individuals here in Grenada, if there is such a group that teaches it, which I'm sure there must be, because I know there is a school for children who can neither speak or hear. So I'm sure there are some lessons that they must do with like parents, so they can understand and communicate a little bit better with their children, especially if it's like a parent who is experiencing something like that for the first time, like they've never had a child with such a disability. So sure there is a place in Grenada. I just depend on you guys to send it in the comment section. All right, so in just a bit, I'll pop over to check the chat to see who is there and to see some of your responses. But for now, I am doing my cross-hatching blend with my 2 shades of blue. Do you think that was a good choice, guys, with the 2 shades of blue? I mean, I was really feeling it in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, that will look good. I still think it looks good. Artists, they are never satisfied. Any artist on the chat, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, last year I painted this painting and I did it this way. And this year, I think it deserves a little bit something different. That's how we go. So, I'm not too worried about the background for now, but I would still like to hear from you guys as it relates to your thoughts on how it is looking. Ta-da! It's still a work in progress, but let me see if there are any comments from you guys on the chat. All right. So let us see. So I'm not seeing any new comments. Just making sure. Yes, so I see Miss Nigel said that it is the painting from last night. That's correct. Donna asked, is that a lobster? Donna, really? Does this beauty look like a lobster? Mind you, lobsters are beautiful. Beautiful enough to eat. I love lobster. Any seafood fans on the chat? On the live with us, seafood fans? A good seafood boil makes anybody's day, anybody's. So right now, I am finishing up on some of my cross-hatching style. And I don't want it to look too structured. I really just want it to look not chaotic, but I'm gonna have to use the word again. Structured chaos in the background. It's like when you look at it, you're like, and then it kind of pulls you into the front, so you look at the front more. The foreground, that is, a little bit more. All right. So there we have it. I'm filling in and creating my cross-hatching blend with my 2 shades of blue. And I did mention earlier that I think it needed a splash of white somewhere. I'm still thinking about that splash of white. What do you guys think? Should I venture in with some white now? Let's see. Oh my goodness, yes, the white is adding a certain flair to it. Not too much though. I'm getting that vibe. Is not too much. Should be added in. But it does add a certain vibe to it. What do you guys think? Definitely different. Hints of white in there as well is adding a striking pizzazz to my background. You should see this in person. I'm only going to add the white textured sort of strokes on the upper part of the painting. I'm going to leave the bottom half of the painting with the basic shades of the blue. Let's see. And voila. So we have our painting coming together nicely, I must say. Take a look, take a look, take a look. And let me see also some of your comments in the chat. So if you are online with us, please ensure to send in your name so we know who's there. All right. Okay, let me see. Alrighty. All right, so we are about to get started with the flower in just a bit. So let me go ahead and wash out my brush, and then it's time for the flower. Very soon it's going to be flower time, okay? All right, so we're washing out our brushes, and we're going to do a little bit of engagement in just a bit with everybody. So ensure that you stick along with us so we can get some engagement going in just a bit. All right. So butterfly, for my butterfly, like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing purple. And for my flower, I intend on doing some shades of pink. And right now I am in the process of cleaning off my brush, getting it as clean as can be so I can go on to my beautiful flower petals, which I intend on doing in some pink, red hues as well. Okay. It's time for the flower. I'm going to start things off with an outline of red, and then I'm going to move with pink and 2 shades of pink actually. I have a darker pink and I have a lighter pink. So let's see how this goes. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with it already. And all I've done so far is add in some red. Oh, too good, too good. Here we go. All I've done, guys, is added in the red, and I just know that this is going to be gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So here we go. Ooh, do you guys see this? It's stunning, isn't it? All right. Here we go. That's right. So I'm going to get some more paint in my palette so we can continue on with that. Pink. Okay, so we have red and we are flowing with the red. And it's looking fabulous. Really and truly, it's looking great. Mm. There we go. So while we paint and you guys are online and you're relaxing with me, some of you might be getting ready for bed if you do have work tomorrow. Today we also have to discuss a little bit about how art can be used as a therapy form. And trust me, oof, I don't even have to give my own testimony. Persons who have done these sessions with us, they have given their own testimony on how these sessions have been beneficial for them. So I know the power that art has. And if it's your first time watching one of our live streams, then you are just tapping in to that the amazing power of art, because truly I have seen art take persons out of and through some very depressing stages in their life. And the interesting thing for me, I didn't start off as a major art lover. Yeah, and most of us, if you're being honest, most of you have didn't either. You just tried it because it was something different, and then you fall in love with it. And that's the thing about art, it grows on you. So sometimes you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, this art thing, this isn't for me. No, I can't even draw stick people. Yeah, I've heard that. And then you try it and you fall in love with it, and you're like, what have I been doing with my life? Why haven't I been painting more? I know a lot of our ambassadors and persons who have done the sessions with us in studio, they can attest to that. They're like, where has this session been? You know? And I've heard a lot of scenarios from individuals, where they say like they were going through a really tough patch in their life and they started doing these relaxing painting sessions with us. Oh my gosh, it really touches me because they used that as a tool or as a method of therapy to go through and to get through those situations. And to this day, many of those persons are still creating their beautiful pieces on their own, even outside of our public sessions and so on. So that's remarkable to me. The power of art, the power art has really and truly. Because for somebody who never dreamed of picking up a paintbrush and painting to actually be purchasing art materials, and oh my goodness, that warms my heart so much. And I really wish that we in the Caribbean, persons in the Caribbean can understand, or at least try to understand a little bit more about the benefits of art, because it definitely has a lot of benefits. And everybody who have painted with me can attest to that, the benefits of art and what it has done for them. So if it's your first time watching in one of our live streams and you're trying to figure out, you probably even had like one of the roughest day out and you're like, oh, who is this lady talking about art? Let me tell you, God sent me here to tell you that this is your sign that you need to start painting. Anyways, guys, this is the first petal that I've done. I'm going to get my brush washed again, and then I'm going to move in with another petal. All right, so I'll be right back. All right. So here we go. So I think I have washed out the brush clean. It doesn't have to be really clean because remember I am going to be going over with some more paint of the same color, that is. So what I want to do is also restock on the paints. Yes, that sound was me refilling my paints. Remember I said my bottles are all the way on the other end of my camera angle. Yeah, perhaps we'll work on that. Yeah, we'll work on that for the next one. So now I'm going in with my next petal. Next petal. Now we've already added in some red on the edge. In case you're just joining and you're like, how did we get here? All we did is add in some red on the edge, and now I'm working in some pink inside. I actually had two shades of pink. Yeah, I have a darker pink, and you see that one. I like to call that pink, and everybody is like, why would you call it that? Because it's not like a universal flower, I guess. I call the pink the bougainvillea pink. I'm not, I'm sorry, that's just how I call it. So some persons will say, oh, but bougainvillea is not like everywhere. It's not a plant you can find everywhere. And I'm like, and so what? And it's not this one, the bougainvillea pink is this one. Just to show you, I'll put it here. Isn't that a bougainvillea pink? It's beautiful. There we go. I've seen so much different colors in the bougainvillea. I've actually seen orange, I've seen white, I've seen the pinks, the red, purple. Bougainvillea is one of the most versatile flowers when it comes to colors that I know of. It's truly beautiful. So let's see. As we're on the topic of flowers, flowers and art make some of the most calming environments ever. You won't believe it. Like if it is that you're feeling overwhelmed at any point, you can take a canvas out to a garden area, anywhere where flowers are visible, and just relax there in the serenity of it all and paint. Flowers are usually attributed to therapy, and imagine painting in that environment as well. You know, a lot of persons choose art over the conventional therapy because painting transcends words. You know where I'm coming from? Like being able to, you know, put your emotions out on the canvas is something that persons prefer. It's something that most persons that I've heard, they prefer that. Rather than verbalizing, they would formulate plans and figure out what their next move should be by just sitting and engaging in a painting session. Have you ever had brainstorming with your team and everybody's like stuck? They're like, I don't know what we should do about this particular thing or this particular event or whatever. And what you end up doing is you actually, oh, I had a little paint spill. And you actually sit down and you say, you know what, guys, let's just do something different. Let's try a painting session. Okay, fair enough. It doesn't have to be a painting session, but have you ever thought about doing something different? When I was a little bit younger, and I had another job, I was not a full-time painter at that point. One day, our supervisor decided that she's going to have her team debriefing outdoors. And it might seem, oh, that's normal. She just took you guys outside to talk. But it was so unconventional at the time because we were so accustomed to our sessions being done in the studio. Well, not in studio, but in the office. That it was really, really thought-provoking and interesting when she asked us to come outside. And interestingly enough, it got us to open up so much more. Yeah, so much more. So if you're a supervisor, a manager, you're trying to have some breakthrough sessions with your team, you can try the outdoor trick because it allows for them to open up more because it's not the same environment as inside where they feel sometimes a little bit trapped or they can't be as open as they may want to. So try outdoor. And even if you don't want to go take a walk outdoor, you can try going out for a dinner, different things like that. You can try doing with the team, and I guarantee you, they're going to open up all right. They are. So right about now, I'm wrapping up on my petals, and it's some of the most beautiful petals I have ever seen. And I'm sure you guys can agree with that. All right, these petals are gorgeous. They are beautiful. So I've decided to do pink hues for my petals. So it's pink and red. Well, actually it's red hues And then the red, when I put some white in there, it just started to be pink. So there we have it. It's beautiful. I love it. I really do. I think this is like the ultimate representation of femininity. You know, like you have burst. First of all, we have flower. We have a flower, and that's usually attributed anyway. And then we have the butterfly. That's usually associated as well with feminine energy. And then we are not only just painting a flower and a butterfly, but we're doing it in hues of pink and red. What can it get better than this? All right, so in just a bit, I'm going to take a look at some of you guys online. And I know some of you posted in some questions via WhatsApp. So I have to take a look at that. So some of you who knew we were going live tonight, you were like, I want to hear you guys talk about this. I want to hear you talk about that. And so I'm going to be taking a look at that shortly. So let me finish off on this petal here. There we go. Add some highlights in there. And petal numero cuatro is finito. All right, let's see. Yep. I'm loving this. I really am loving it. There we go. Well, the petals are done. We still have the middle to do. I'm thinking I'm going to do like some red and white. But for now, let me take a look at the chat and some of the questions that was sent beforehand so we can see what you guys wanted to engage in. Okay, let's see. So before we go in with the middle of the flower, we had one question here. I'm going to have a little sip of my wine. If you are having a glass of wine this time of the night as well with me, kudos to you. You're a champion. Okay. And here that says, tell me what you know about the healing power of art. So the healing power of art is what the question was. Let me quickly, this device here is kind of glitchy, so let me just make sure I can see everything before I start with some of the questions you sent in before, okay? All right, I think it's a little bit I think it's a little bit better. All right. So, question number 1 was, can you tell me a little bit more about the healing power of art? And I know we have some more questions under there, and so I'm going to get to those in just a bit. But art itself has so much healing power because it reduces your stress, it reduces anxiety, depression, and I mean, medication and different things not even good enough on its own. You require these additional steps and methods to really getting over what is the innermost line situation. Medication deals with the surface of the depression and what's causing the anxiety, the surface. It deals with the symptoms, I would say, of it. But really getting to the root of the situation, it's more emotional. And art gives attention to that emotional side of things. And so that is why most persons would choose art as a form of therapy, because sometimes people don't find relief in a traditional form of therapy, like I was saying earlier, where you're interacting and talking with somebody. You just want to tap into that emotion using colors, using a different form, and that's where art can come in. So art definitely has its healing powers because it allows you to process your emotion in ways words definitely cannot. So I hope that was a good answer for you. We have another one here. How can you use art as a safe emotional outlet? I hope I'm reading it correctly. Art as a safe emotional outlet. How can you use that? Listen, I've seen art allow people to process and express trauma, to express pain, joy, without needing to talk. And I think this is the big part of it. Not having to open your mouth and say a word, but just be able to translate that emotion onto a canvas. That in itself is already, it's already healing. And I've seen artists in the past, like if we were to go back, and I'll do a few art history with you guys. I've looked at artists in the past who went through depressing periods and anxiety filled periods, and I mean, some of them went extreme, guys. They went to cabins and locked themselves away in their painting studio for weeks upon weeks without having communication with friends and family. I'm not saying to do that, guys. I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying that they used art as an outlet, to express themselves and to just be free. And I think that in itself, the fact, and I will keep stressing on that, the fact that you don't have to communicate or speak verbally to communicate what you're feeling and your emotions, but you can let it out through the use of colors. And each color you use represents something inside. You may not know it. You may not think like, okay, I'm using I'm using pink, so just because that's the color I have. No, there was something that gravitated you. There's something that pulled you towards that pink, that red. Red represents power, love. All right, so yellow represents creativity, fun, happiness, joy. Orange also stimulates laughter and creativity. Every single color you use has a specific representation. When we do art therapy with persons, I also give them an opportunity to understand the colors, because I think it's important you understand it before you start using it. Because when you understand it, you start tapping back, and I'll just start painting the middle. You start thinking back of times in your life when you probably wore a lot of black clothing, and you're like, there was this period in my life when I only wore black clothing, and you're trying to figure out, at that point, you didn't make anything of it. You were just like, okay, yeah, just wearing black clothing all the time. But now as you go into this motion, yeah. So you realize that, yeah, it was because of that period in your life that you actually were wearing those colors, or you were feeling that particular way. So art has influenced our life in many different ways, and you just have to wake up to the notion that art can be impactful. There are a lot of persons who still to this day don't believe in the healing power of art, and I'm very happy that you asked that question before, Hans, so that I can get to it with persons, especially those who don't understand or maybe somewhat believe in its healing power. So there is my middle of my flower. I'm in love with it. I really do love it. What I'm going to do now is move on to some purple for my butterfly. And as you can tell, we're on the home stretch with this painting. You can tell. So when I wash out my brush, and then I'm going to take another one of your questions that was sent in before, so we can ensure we hit some of those questions in the live chat, okay? Ooh, let me get the device so I can questions. Alrighty, washing up my brush, getting ready for the purple. That's gonna be my butterfly. Oh, one of the most exciting parts is the butterfly. I know I was super excited about the flower, and evidently so. Evidently so, because it's beautiful. And while I do that, let's take a look at, have a sip, of course, and take a look at some more questions I was sent in beforehand. Let's see. All right. Okay, so there's this question that says, what is the meaning behind the painting tonight? Well, um, you would not have known the meaning behind the painting before because this question was sent in before. But like I was telling, on saying on the live stream earlier, this painting, if you look carefully here, you'll notice that there is like this, like a scar down the painting. It was restructured, and before I actually painted the blue, there was another one that comes across here. So this painting went through its own traumatic experience. Well, the sketch at least. This is a sketch we did yesterday. This was originally supposed to be the actual sketch we paint on yesterday, but we were doing some craft projects, and one of the assistant artists ended up slicing through this sketch, and it was just a mistake, and we decided to redo the sketch for the public session, but we kept the original one that was sort of torn. And I thought, what could we do with this painting? What could we do with this sketch? And today I had the inspiration that I can recreate it, um, heal it a little bit, do a little bit of surgery on it, and recreate it in a different way, add different colors on there. So that is really the shocking meaning behind our painting tonight. Well, last night Tanika gave a good explanation. She said that this could be metamorphosis. And I love the fact that I love to allow persons to get derive their own meaning from these paintings. So I would like to hear from you. What does this painting speak to you? You know, like, what is it saying to you? I want to hear that. But right now, it's just a piece that is going through its own metamorphosis from being almost thrown out into the garbage to now being transformed into this beautiful painting that I'm going to love and cherish for a very long time. All right, so let me see one more question before I move to our butterfly. All right, so I have to scroll through because we did ask certain persons to send some questions. So it was like we have a lot. So let me go down. Okay, so this one is personal. They were asking, what is some of the best foods that I enjoy in Grenada? Okay, so she's not from Grenada and she's gonna be visiting soon. So I understand where this question is coming from when she asked about the food that we eat. Well, my favorite are the best ones I've had. Let me grab my palette quickly. So when it comes to food in Grenada, some of the best meals I've had are. I want to. Do you want me to keep like really local? Because I can go very local for you, or I can go restaurants. Like I've had really good Thai food here, here in Grenada. But okay, I'll just keep it local for a little bit. So of course, Oilong is on top of the list. There's no question about it. Oilong is and will always be dear to our hearts as Grenadians. I'm sorry, Grenadians, I spoke for you there. I know there are a few Grenadians who are like, ah, girl, I don't eat that. Well, some black there. Yep. Looking good already. And then I'm going to slide on down with the body of my butterfly. My beautiful metamorphosis, metamorphosis butterfly. This butterfly has been through it. This butterfly literally faced being thrown away. And I do have to get to another one of the questions that was sent in before. So let me grab the device so I can see what some of your questions were, the other ones, all right? Okay, so I'm looking here now at some of your questions. Oh, let me see, is it there? Oh, yes, it's. All right, so this question is, let me grab it quickly. Are Caribbean superstitions actually true, in your opinion, Princess? Well, Caribbean superstitions like what? Like a Nancy? Well, that's not really a superstition, really. Like a Nancy. A Nancy is really a folk tale or an old time story. But superstitions, I would assume, like when they tell us to walk backwards when you're coming inside late at night, or don't open an umbrella in the house because zombie going to zombie going to come inside the house. Now, as it relates to what I believe with that, I am sure that back then, when they were growing up, and there wasn't much, access to electricity, there wasn't all of the modern and advanced things we are experiencing now. I'm sure that there were a lot more supernatural occurrences happening, or at least were things that they couldn't explain. So the only how it could have been explained was, well, Jumbie, what is it? Jumbie following you inside the house. These kind of weird things, or Ligaroo suck them. So I'm sure that because there were all of these occurrences when they were younger, and they didn't have access to some of the modernization that we have now, I'm sure they would just quickly attribute that to something supernatural. So as of right now, things are a little bit different. So you rarely hear these stories. And if there are rare occurrences of something, it's very difficult for somebody to really believe it, or to even consider it being true. It's the same thing, and I would draw reference from a biblical perspective. When persons encourage individuals to share like testimonies of things that God has probably done in their life, it's to keep the faith alive. Because the more you hear, like, hey, Sister John went through this particular scenario, and, here she is now, she has pulled through, you feel reassured, you're like, yeah, things are happening. And I think back then, a lot of these different weird occurrences probably happened, and they were like, guys, something's up. Tell your kids when they're coming in, make sure that they're taking off their clothes and putting it on backwards. I mean, I don't do that now. I never actually did it growing up either. But yeah, that's what I think was the reasoning behind all of that. There was another question which says, do you think you can survive a day in a Caribbean household? Friend, I am in the Caribbean. I've grown up in a Caribbean household. And like I said, I know some of you are not from Grenada, so you are from the Caribbean. So you're probably thinking, I wonder what it's like growing up in a Caribbean household. It's pretty normal, pretty normal for us. But it requires us getting home before the street lights come on. That was one of my biggest thing growing up. Make sure you're home before the street lights come on. And I made sure I did it because I genuinely was scared. When outside got dark. So I'm like, I'm still seeing daylight. Let me get home, unless I'm with like a cousin or two. Let's get some water here. As it relates to like other fundamentals and values that we grew up with at home, it was pretty standard. We typical church going family and stuff like that. So I don't have anything super fascinating, but what I do know is like growing up in a Caribbean family, you have family all around. Well, for me at least. So I had cousins nearby, um, lots of neighbors. So you never really felt lonely when you came out from school. You're just like, let's see which cousin is already home so we can go play. All right, let me grab some more water. Okay, so we're doing our butterfly wing as we speak. Um, this butterfly wing is reminding me of some face painting that I did today. Mm-hmm. Face painted some beautiful gems today. And a lot of them were very fascinated with my butterfly effect. So you can imagine, I had a lot of butterflies to paint today. They were like, oh, I love the butterflies. So they wanted to all do butterflies. And I'm like, oh my gosh. right. So we are filling in. And now I'm just adding some of those like extra effects in there. So I'm just going over different spots and adding in different, you know, all these different things in there to make it look really different and unique. So let's see. Some of them we're going to be whole, some of them we're going to leave out some space. And we're literally on the home stretch with this design, in case you didn't notice already. In case you didn't see that already, we are on the home stretch with this beautiful painting. So let me add in another one here. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely stunning is what I'll say. This design is turning out to be stunning. Let's see down here. Voila. And I'm going to add a few more around in different spots. And let's see some more questions. All right, so this person also from the US, they asked, what are some of the things that Caribbean people only will understand? I think I get what you're asking. So like, what are some of the things that only us Caribbean people would get or understand when we say, I guess, or do? Let me think. What are some of the things we do, guys, that only we understand? I think everybody puts clothes on the line to dry. I mean, that was just like something that came to my mind. I was like, I wonder if, like, hang out the clothes. That's something that, you know, they say. And I said it around a friend of mine who was from the UK. And she's like, huh? I was like, you could hang out the clothes on the line. And she's like, huh? So I think too, that's something that Caribbean people, we resonate with, because growing up, there wasn't any dryers and so on that we had. It was all hang out the clothes on the line for us. All right, so what that means is you put the clothes outside on a fishing line or whatever line you used, and you put it out to dry in the sun. So they would say, go and hang out the clothes on the line. Let me see. Oh, this one was, well, I mean, stir the pot. That one was easy to understand. I don't think that one should be a Caribbean thing. What other Caribbean thing do we do? I'll think about it. Some certain things that only we can understand. That's a tough one. Well, if you're thinking about understanding, I know we had, what's it called? Gypsy or gibberish, a language that we use. It's where we replace or we insert really the letter P in the sentence. So I'll give you an example. Let me just think of a nice sentence that we can do it to. Let me see. So I'll say in Gypsy, tonight we are painting this beautiful, tonight we are painting a flower and a butterfly. I'm going to say it in Gypsy. Are you ready? Tupu napait, weepy upper, pepin tippin, epi, buppa tuppa flapai, apand, epi flappa wapper. Now it sounds so stupid. It's so stupid to actually say it. But growing up, this was like the hottest thing on the block. Like, to be able to speak Gypsy, like, you're it. All right, you're it. And the craziest thing is to be able to speak it fast. You are elite. So let me give you that same sentence, but in the elite version. Prepare yourself. Actually, I should prepare myself. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Let me try. Tupunapait, whippy upar, pepe pit. Okay, let's try it one more time. Tupunapait, whippy upar, pepe tippin, epe buppa tuppa flapai, apan epe flappa wapper. Ta-da! See, I'm a Gypsy master. In the beginning, I did mention that I studied French. I also studied Spanish. And I also asked if there was anybody who knows of persons who do sign language. And now here I am talking about Gypsy. The language never leaves us. The love of the language never, ever leaves us. So now I'm adding in some highlights on my butterfly's wings. Ooh, highlights are really going to make this pop, and I am of course going to put in some dots to add that special unique touch. And it's very much different to last night's painting, because last night the butterfly had pink and purple on the wing, and tonight it just has some purple, black, and white. And last night our flower was blue, just like the background, and tonight it is different shades of red. So it is different. And you guys can tell me if you prefer it this way or if you liked the one that we did last night better. I mean, I'm open to hearing some of your comments, and so I know what your thoughts were on this. All right, so now I'm going to go in and add some of the dots in there. I'm going to add some up here. Ooh la la. Now that is making it pop a lot. It's really adding that special oomph to it. Let me get me some liquid. Now some water on this. All right, so we are on the home stretch with this beautiful painting. Now we're just adding in all of our dots, and that'll be the end. We're adding dots all around. Ooh, really beautiful. There we go. I really wish I would have been able to get to more of your questions, because I know a lot of you sent in a lot more questions, but let's leave it for another night. Tomorrow, God's willing, I may just tune in with an advanced painting, as in a painting that we are about to do, hint, hint, one that we actually have to do for our upcoming Paint With Me sessions. So if it is that you have the time, you can come on the live stream around the same time tomorrow, God's willing, and we might just have a special painting in store for you. You can be one of the few who has like this head start on the group ahead of next Thursday's painting. I think I gave it away a little bit, but it was so much fun being able to paint this tonight, paint this over again. I literally painted this yesterday. And here I am again, recreating another design for it, and it's it's still the same amount of fun. All right, so I really hope that this painting inspired you tonight. And even if you're watching it and the session would have already ended, I hope that whatever it is you're going through right now, this piece can act as a source of inspiration to you. And remember, art in itself is a therapeutic and very much a healing form. So if you're a therapist and you're watching this live stream, this is your sign to use art in your sessions as a medium of therapy with your patients. Because I guarantee you, you would learn a lot more about your patients through the artistic sessions than you thought you were learning about them by just talking. All right, and you don't have to have any grand set of experience in art in order to host an art therapy session. But what you need to do is to learn and understand how the colors play on the emotions. And if you get that down packed, I guarantee you, you'll be able to host very therapeutic sessions like these with your clients. So it looks like that is the end of a wonderful painting session. I think I went really crazy with the wing. And now it's time for our signature down at the bottom. I'm going to add mine in some purple. And let's go in. So tonight it is the P and J. Yeah. So let's get that in there. Voila. Why not? Why not just add like a little bit of highlights, huh? Highlights on our signature, because we can. We can. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It was an absolute honor, really, to have you guys on the live stream with me. And thank you for sending your questions, because without your questions, there would not have been interaction. And if it is that you're viewing the live stream, remember you can send in some of the questions beforehand so we can have it and we can talk and converse about it on the live. And yeah, once the live starts, grab yourself something to drink. This was my safe, what would I say? This was my, my little glass that I've been crutching on to for the night. It has not yet ended, but I intend to do so before I call it a night. But once more, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I was the host, Princess Jeremiah, and I'll see you next time. Bye.